Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today's lesson is about spaceship sketching for video games. And I'm going to go over my methods of doing so. I'll go over how you approach a brief if you're given that from a client or a company. And also, I just want to give a little disclaimer. I had already filmed this video. You can see here, I did my first round. And then I realized in post-production that the focus was off and there was no getting around it. And I felt really bad. So I know that you guys deserve better quality than that. So I'm doing it again. And hopefully this round will be a little better. So let's see what happens. But when we sketch for video games, it's a little bit different approach than just scribbling and hoping for the best and seeing what comes out. Your design intent needs to be more clear. So what that means is if you're given a detailed brief, let's say for example a company gives you an art Bible. Okay, you just got brought onto the team and you got an art Bible. An art Bible is a very big, or it could be a smaller outline of what's expected for the artwork quality, all the little nuances like people, places, and things, terminology, descriptions of like main characters, factions, etc., and the names of places. All right, and a brief for this could be, we need a warship, and we also need a lesser known ship, kind of like a civilian one, that can travel between worlds, gather supplies, carry people and creatures, and we need it to look similar to Blade Runner slash District 9, like the gritty sci-fi. That could be an example of a brief. Some of them are more detailed than others, and a good rule of thumb to follow is however detailed the brief is, that's usually a good indicator of how detailed you need to be with the thumbnails, because your design intent needs to be clear. The materials that I'm just using a grayscale marker. This is from Hotu. You can use any brand you want, Copic, Prismacolor, doesn't matter. And then I'm also going to be using a black Prismacolor, and I'll show you that technique in a minute. You can see it here where I've used it. So I put the color down and then I drew the pen around it. So I'm just doing it in grayscale this time just to see what happens. All right, let's see. So I have different silhouettes here that I'm just painting on. See how my brush work is pretty flimsy, but that's okay. Remember what I said earlier, your design intent needs to be clear. This is just laying a foundation for the values that could be in between the markings. Some of these are pretty alien. I don't know. I always like this approach because it doesn't really matter what happens as long as you can refine the shapes into something really cool. Also notice how I'm trying to utilize the space in between the sketches. So even if you're in this small, gritty, dirty stage in sketching, okay, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, my thumbnails, they're so ugly. You'd be surprised at how much better your thumbnails look than finished work out there. I'm totally guilty of that too. A lot of my thumbnail work still looks better than my finished painting. It's weird how our minds play tricks on us when we want to finalize our renders. We kind of lose the quality of our original sketch. Okay, and also whenever you do spaceship sketching, they also look like guns. So you can kind of take care of two different types of concepting here. But you want to give the client a good array of shapes. Each one should be different. Like this one looks like a crazy looking bird slash plant, and then this one over here looks like a needle. This one looks like a ship that you would find in a desert on some kind of rundown planet. This one looks like a probe, and this one looks more like a fast fighter jet, or almost like something for the water. All right, so I'm gonna pop my cap back on, and then let's go to town. The way I'd approach this is that the underbelly of all your sketches should be the darkest part, because that's where the darkest part would be if the light source was from above. All right, so you want your cast shadows and everything to show up, and also it just looks better. It helps your thumbnails pop off the page. Now, in between the silhouette, so the silhouette being the outermost shape, inside here you can put some smaller details on. Now, the great thing about using the marker at first instead of just line work is that the marker paints in the large shapes first. All you have to do is outline it and define it. Remember what I said earlier about your design intent needs to be clear depending on what exactly your team needs, or the team that's hiring you. Now, everything doesn't have to be fleshed out at this stage, but you at least need to get a good silhouette going. So think about all the games out there right now and movies that have very, very iconic and recognizable ships and creatures, armor, characters, etc. The silhouettes of their armor, of their horns, their hair, whatever's going on with them, very recognizable. Like if you think of Lord of the Rings and you think of the Nazgul, okay, the ring wraiths, you know that they're a ring wraith just because of that iconic stance and their sword, the way their cloaks looked. Okay, but if you take the mouth of Sauron and then you put him up against a ring wraith, they're kind of similar, right? They're big, they're tall and lanky, but there's some differences with their silhouette, especially in the helmet. So you can see here I'm kind of just messing around with small little details inside here. Another really cool trick if you're doing spaceships is the rule of three. The rule of three is a real thing. For example, up here at the top, I put 3 cool little vents or shapes up there. All right, if this thing had an engine that's protruding in the front, you have like the big turbine here, so that's one shape. You got 2 shapes here, and then you have the dome for 3. Okay, big, medium, small, primary, secondary, tertiary. All right, if it has what looks like an outcropping of wires and such, okay, maybe there's a gun at there, maybe there is. Well, now I just put 3. 3, I don't know how this works, but it just suddenly feels sci-fi. Think about the creatures you invent. When in doubt, add more eyeballs. How many eyes? 3. Okay. If a spaceship needs to feel like a spaceship from another world instead of a fighter jet from Earth, what are you going to put in? Probably 3 wings, 3 fins, 3 exhaust tips in the back. I don't know, 3 C-beams. So you could do that. Okay, right in here I put a little hatch mark. Maybe they can open up the hatch for where the pilot is sitting inside. There we go. And then I'm using light controlled scratch marks inside here to show some texture on top of it without actually going into too many details. So that's something you have to be careful with. All right, let's jump into the next one. So again, I'm just going to cover this with a nice little outline. I'm going to trust my sketch too. That's another tip that I want to add to this. Trust your sketch. What I mean is usually, not all the time, but usually what you invent in the thumbnail stage will look better than if you take it and then you try to polish it up with paint and you try to scan it in and put color on it. It completely loses its luster, it loses its design. It's because all of the original lines that you put in the thumbnailing phase are deleted because of our poor self-editing skills. Like, we suck at it. So we want to make sure that if we self-edit and we start adding in stuff on the side here, honor your original sketch. There is power in the energy of your original thumbnails. So if I look at this one right here and I'm going, man, I really like this because it feels like a creature's stinger. It feels like a really fast, I don't know, space warping telekinetic ship. Okay, but I don't want to lose that because I have all these cool little bumps and ridges here. So you want to honor that. Okay, just short controlled burst with your pen here over top of that color. You want to stay on the outermost edges of the gray shapes. Some of the stuff does need to be changed just because you didn't finish a shape, but for the most part, I'm staying in here. Okay, remember on the bottom, you want a little bit darker, but you're still going to honor that shape. You don't want to get too crazy changing stuff. All right, there we go. Okay, that's looking kind of cool. I'm actually glad I did this re-recording because I was going to try to edit out and make the focus better on my original one, but then I realized I couldn't do that. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to record another one. Because why not? I mean, these are so much fun anyway. I just draw like this all day. Okay. Also, comment below if you're trying to get into the industry, if you're trying to get a job at a video game company. One of the things that I specialize in is mentoring folks. Okay, if you're an aspiring concept artist and you want to be mentored by me on getting into the industry, please check the comment below, the pinned comment. You can email me at bobbyrebholz@gmail.com. Set up a consultation. I run it on our Creature Design Workshop Discord. Link is in the description. Everything is connected. And I'd be happy to chat with you if you want to be mentored. Another thing that I want to briefly mention is that I'm just glad you all are here. So I'm always thankful when people join our Discord and want to get better at drawing. It's fun to watch aspiring concept artists show in real time their progress on their sketches. That's why we have our monthly creature design challenges, because those of you that don't know me, I'm a creature designer by trade. That's what my specialty is. So I've been in the concept art industry and the video game industry, movie industry for like 12 years now. I always knew that I wanted to be a concept artist. I grew up actually dreaming to be a paleontologist because I loved dinosaurs so much. And then as I got older, that transitioned. The interest still stayed, but it transitioned more into movie creatures. And I've always been a big gamer. So concept art for games, which is what I'm showing you guys here now, it's always been a passion of mine. There we go. I give links to my portfolio too, so if you guys want to see more of my work, my LinkedIn, I like all of that stuff. It's interconnected with my YouTube channel. And also, if you're finding this helpful, comment below. Also, like and subscribe. I don't really ask people to subscribe much. I don't know. I feel kind of, it's like imposter syndrome. I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me explain that better. But it does help my channel out, and I'm just really humbled seeing my channel grow the way it has over the past year and a half. It's pretty crazy. I still got many, many, many more lessons to teach you all. So while I'm yapping, you can see me filling in small little details within these ships. And also, ever since I started this one, I'm just more warmed up now. That's the other really cool thing about thumbnailing. You warm up. This is why it's important to number them when you're all done, because you can look at number 1 and go, wow, I started with number 1 and I felt pretty good, but now I'm on number 47. It's like, 47's amazing. I couldn't have gotten to 47 unless I started with number 1. And the other thing is, and I'm going to say this every time, allow yourself to fail. And when you're at the thumbnailing stage like I am right here, there is no failure. There isn't. Because all of the ideas that you're putting down could lead to a potential project later for something completely different. As long as this stuff is not under NDA, because if it's under NDA, then you're out of luck. But it's good practice, because then you do your personal projects and you'd be surprised. Like back in 2016, I made a video about this too. I did a 500 creature thumbnail challenge, and I ask all you to do it. The 500 creature thumbnail challenge is fun because it's definitely going to make you go outside of your comfort zone. And 2, you're going to become a better artist in no time. Look at this. 1, 2, 3 bulbous shapes. Is this a ship? I don't even know what that is. It's probably just like a random machine part. But it's given me ideas for maybe a part on a ship that is smaller and the ship itself is bigger. Because right here you have something called a fighter, so like a fighter plane, and then you have something here called maybe civilian. Okay, so that's a civilian ship. Reconnaissance, so recon. Like a really big, huge hulking one would be a destroyer. This isn't really a destroyer. This could actually be a seeker. Why don't we put that? That just sounds cool. Seeker. So maybe this thing is so thin it can rip through space-time and travel through portals. Ooh, man. Ooh, I just had an idea. I'm gonna do that next time. But without further ado, let's jump into more silhouettes. All right, let's try some different ones here. So we got some elongated, skinny ones. Let's do some at a different angle. That's like a top-down front three-quarter. Okay, and maybe we'll put some wings in already. Maybe some cool shapes. Okay, I'm going to use that rule of three. There we go. Got one. It almost looks like a hyper-stylized screwdriver. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it's pretty cool. I am the type of artist that likes to really fill up the gaps, so let's fill up this gap. That was totally random, so let's see what happens. Big square, maybe a bulbous shape where somebody's going to sit, and I don't want to touch that ship, so maybe, okay, so I got 3 rods here. Okay, we'll put another bump and another bump, so that's the rule of 3, and then maybe in the back we'll paint 3 of those. Cool. Let's jump in here and let's do something longer, but maybe it's more random. So we'll put some different elongated shapes in here, and then we're going to connect it by one giant shape. I just totally painted that on. We're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to draw through it to see what's going to happen. We've got to let that dry though. So let's put the cap back on. Hopefully you're liking this. Let me know what you're drawing below, okay? And I would like to see it too. So if you join our Discord, you can put it in our critique section, our finished work section, and you can ask for feedback, or just, if you just want to show off, we have that too. I'm going to put that center line in here. Work through your sketches too. Okay, those little perspective lines that you give yourself, that goes a long way into making stuff look believable. Now, I'm not really sure if I actually like this ship. I don't know what's happening. Maybe I do. I think it turned out better than what I thought was going to happen. But if you ever find yourself, I guess, ruining your thumbnail, just keep going on it, because sometimes good ideas need to emerge. They don't pop up right away. And us and the microwave generation, there's a lot of impatient artists out there that need stuff to look good right away. This thing looks like a mechanized flying fish. I did not intend for that to happen, but one thing that I am intrigued by is that bubble in the back. I'm going to put a little dude in there, and that's going to be a see-through port where we can see him steering the ship. Okay, so maybe there's some like exhaust thrusters in the back. Okay, and maybe we can narrow down some of these wing tips. Okay, so it's kind of messy. Yeah, it's messy. Now for the big one. Oh yeah, when I did that shape, I'm like, oh, this is definitely Star Wars. It just feels like Star Wars. There we go. Got that blaster on the front. Got that tertiary blaster. You got all these down here. Okay, got these really cool vintage shapes up here, and that narrow style in a lot of Star Wars ships. Okay, this is a little looser. My design intent is not clear, so I would have to go back on that. But slowly but surely, you can go back in and start colorizing some parts that you want in the shadow. Maybe put a little vent in there, like 3 vents. There we go. A little thruster number 1, thruster number 2, and then maybe another one on the side to give that 3. I would just stop with that because I originally liked the shape, but now that I put stuff on it, maybe it's not good enough for a ship. I don't know. Let's take care of this one over here that looks like a 3-pronged, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a mechanized jellyfish? Listen to me laughing at my own sketches. This is kind of fun though, isn't it? I hope you're drawing along with me. You're finding this helpful. If you're looking to get a job in the game industry, fill your sketchbooks up with this stuff. It's really hard to find artists that just love concepting. And also a lot of times the word concept art is thrown around and people don't understand what it is. And that part kind of sucks. Okay, we got those little bulbous shapes on here. Maybe there can be some indications of some machinery, intricate machinery on there. It's not really in perspective because I don't really know what direction this thing is facing. I think that's the beauty of this. There's like beauty in the unknown. We don't really know what's going on with our thumbnail. But it definitely got more messy, didn't it? I'm trying to clean those bits up at the end. Maybe make them a little thicker. So much fun. I hope you guys liked today's lesson. I love thumbnailing. That's the gist of my channel. So if you like this, let me know. Comment below. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me if you're in school too. I do read every single little comment. Good and bad. Yes, I do get bad comments. But if you found it helpful, let me know. And work on filling those sketchbooks up. So before we finish, before I sign off today, we got to number these. You know it, folks. Number them. 2, 3, 4. Because if you don't number them, it kind of defeats the purpose of you trying to be organized and tell a story with all of your work. And you want it to be better for the client too. Remember, your sole job as a concept artist is to make everybody else's job easier and to give them a job. Okay, you're at the front line of offense. You get all your thinking drawings down. And this goes a long way. There's, 8 different projects right in here? So just think of the power of thumbnailing. Okay? I trust y'all. Hope you had fun. Peace.